What's up, everybody, and thank you for listening to Mastering the Mindset. My name is Dariusdotch, and I'm an actor, hip-hop artist, and fitness and life coach. And I'm here to personally help you train and improve your mindset so that you can, 1, become the best version of yourself mentally, and 2, gain focus and motivation to be able to take action and achieve the success in life that you want and deserve. Before we get started, please like and subscribe to my channel, and at the end of this episode, if you liked it, please share it with a friend or a loved one or someone who would benefit from hearing this message. I'm so glad you're here, and I'm ready to go on this journey with you, and that journey begins now. Yes. Welcome back to another episode. Today is going to be a good episode for y'all. Let's talk about why change is so hard. I'm going to give you a few ways how to make it easier on you, because the thing is, in order for you to create a life you want, in order to see different results in your life, you're going to have to do different things and you're going to have to change. We already know that, right? That's why you listen to a podcast like this one. There's no way around it. In order for your life to change, you have to change. If you don't change, then your life will stay exactly the same. And that's a mistake that so many people make in life. They want their life to change, but they just sit and wait for it to happen, and they don't really do anything about it. They wait for their life to change versus physically going out there and doing things to make that change happen. The definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. And there's a psychological cycle that your brain goes through whenever you experience change, almost any change you go through. And while I was looking up this topic, I read about these psychologists, Dan Kelly and Daryl Conner, who created this model that specifically deal with the emotional aspects of change, the way you feel emotionally as you're in these different stages of change that you're going through. And if we can understand these concepts and know where we're at in our own cycle of change while we're experiencing it, it'll make it easier to be able to push through that change and not give up, which is what a lot of folks usually end up doing. And what this cycle is called, it's called the emotional cycle of change. And in the cycle of 5 different stages that you have to go through. And I'm going to take you through this graph. And what this is going to do is it's going to help you understand yourself and anticipate what's going to come as you start to experience change, which is going to be really helpful as you start to take action to make your life different. So let's get to it. So the graph I'm looking at is shaped like a U, like a capital letter U. So I want you to imagine, since you can't see me, that we're at the top left of the graph of the U, of the emotional cycle of change, top left. And if you think in terms of the shape of the U, the top is how you're feeling. You're feeling optimistic, right? On top, you're motivated. It's amazing. At the bottom of the U is pessimism and doubt. So the top left of this graph is called uninformed optimism. And in this stage, you're really excited about change, and we've all been there, right? We first start something, we're excited, motivation is easy to come by, and the reason is because we're unaware of all the difficulties that are going to come ahead. We're uninformed about what it really means to do this thing. And it's the reason why so many people start something and they're excited about it, and then they go through the next stages of change and they give up. And maybe you've been a person who's really good at starting something, but bad at finishing. Or maybe you've experienced it before, right? And really, we all have. We just have. Been there, done that. But the reason you're excited about it is because you're in stage 1, uninformed optimism. And one of the things they say you should do is when you're feeling this optimism is make a list of all the benefits you want to achieve. The things that will positively change when you complete this thing. Because at some point, you're going to have these feelings of giving up or it's too hard. And what you want to do is have this quote in your brain, which is, when you think about quitting, remember why you started. Make that list of all those benefits, all the reasons you're excited about taking this journey and making this change. And understand that the reason why this stage is called uninformed optimism is because you're looking at all the benefits from making this change. But what you didn't look at, or what you're not looking at right now, is any of the costs of change. And you better believe there is a cost in change. And we like this first stage, but the problem is it eventually fades. And a lot of times we don't stay there long enough, or long at all, and we start to move to the next stage, which is about halfway down this U. And that's when we experience what's called informed pessimism. So we move from uninformed pessimism to we move from uninformed optimism to informed pessimism. And now is when you know what you didn't know before, right? Because you know more, you start to feel some pessimism. As change progresses, you start to see some of those difficulties pop up, the hurdles, and those benefits you got excited about don't seem as reachable. And at this point, you can start to only see the costs. You see the cost more than you see the benefits of what you have to do, how things will have to change, things you need to change, how your life is going to have to change, right? And you better believe this stage is going to be full of frustration and some anger, anxiety. And this is when you first start to want to quit. You have that creeping doubt in the back of your brain, like, maybe I can't do this. This ain't what I thought it was going to be. Those positive emotions you had start to turn into pessimism. Those benefits seem less real, not possible, maybe not even as important by now. They may not seem worth all the effort that you've been putting in. And now you might be thinking, okay, informed pessimism. That's the worst stage. Got to be the worst stage. Once you get past this stage, it gets easier. Nope. It gets harder, and it drops down to the bottom of the U to stage 3. What's up? I want to take a quick moment to say thank you so much for listening to this episode, and to also let you know that this podcast is 100% donation driven, which means it's completely funded by you, the listener. So if you like the content I have to offer, I would love it if you can make a donation and you get to pick the amount. I left links in the description of the video as well as my homepage. You can choose which way benefits you the best to donate. And if you need more options, please feel free to email me at dariusdotch@gmail.com. That's dariusdotch@gmail.com. Again, thank you so much for being here, and let's get back to it. Okay, so now we're at the bottom of the U, which is what they call Valley of Despair. Now, the good thing about the Valley of Despair is it is the lowest part of the cycle. But at this stage, you start to see the pain of change. And the benefits seem way too far away, and they seem unimportant. The easiest thing to do in the Valley of Despair is, you guessed it, to quit. And this is why change is so hard. This is where the majority of people who give up on a goal give up, right here. They start something, they get here, they quit. They start another thing, they get to the valley, and they give up. It's easy to want to quit and go back to the old ways of doing things in the Valley of Despair. This is where you gave up in the past. This is where you feel pain of change. The benefits seem so far away, and they don't seem worth it. And if you give up here, you're eventually going to start something new, no matter how long it is before you start something new, right? A month, a week, 3 months, a year, 6 years, whenever. You're going to start that exact same emotional cycle of change all over again. The exact same thing. This is the reason why the grass looks greener on the other side. When you're in that Valley of Despair, down in that valley, the grass ain't green. But on top of that hill over there, you see that grass. You get the shiny object syndrome, and you don't realize that the grass ain't nothing but a patch of uninformed optimism. It's the grass of stage 1. And when you get to that stage, you're going to eventually end up back in the valley. It's inevitable. With anything you start, you'll hit stage 2, then you'll get to stage 3. But when you think about quitting, you got to remember why you started. And it's the reason why you made that list in stage 1. When you get to your lowest of lows, you want to look back and say, okay, that's right. That's why. And the good thing about being at the bottom, right, is about being in the valley, is it is the lowest. It's only up from here. Now, once you get past it, once you make your way up the other side of the U, halfway up the other side is the next stage, and that's called informed optimism. At this stage, the probability of success increases, and the reason is you'll be able to actually see the road and the path you're on. You'll be able to see what it looks like. By this point, you understand the obstacles. You know what you didn't do before. You have a better understanding of not only how hard or difficult things can be, but you know exactly what you need to do to get past it. You've had the experiences, you learned things, and this is where optimism starts to come back to you. Success starts to seem a little more possible, right? You done messed up and gotten better. And now you start to see some of those benefits from your actions. You can see them now. And the cost actually starts to seem worth it. You start to see some of those fruits of your labor. You start to see some of the breadcrumbs of success. And life is like, here you go. Here's some of that success you wanted. Here's some of those results you started out wanting to get. And then you say, okay, maybe I can do this, right? This is possible. I'm actually making progress. And that's a great place to be in. That really is a great place to be in. If you can make it to this stage, then you're almost there. You see light at the end of the tunnel. And then the next stage, all the way at the top on the other side of the view, and a stage we all wish we can go to right away from stage 1, but we can't. Stage 5 is success and fulfillment, the final stage of the emotional cycle of change. When all those benefits come to life, and also this is that reflection stage, right? You look back at all the costs you had, all the costs that challenge you, and you feel proud of yourself. And you say, man, I'm glad I pushed through that. I'm so glad I did that, because back then it didn't seem worth it. But now you cross that finish line and it feels so damn good. And now those actions that seemed so hard back then, now they're routine. They don't seem nowhere near as hard. Now what these are habits that you built into yourself. And it all seems worth it. And like I always say, we think we want happiness all the time, but that doesn't serve us. We wish we can go from stage 1 over to stage 5, but we just can't. We got to go to stage 2, to stage 3, and then to 4, then to 5. It's part of the journey. And the number one thing I want you to take away from this episode is when you get to stage 2 and 3, when you start to feel like it ain't going to work, the most important thing for you to do is to take action every day towards your goal. You have to take action. Keep taking the action, even when it's hard, even if it's only the barest of minimums. You have to keep taking action, regardless of how it feels. You have to know that you won't be motivated. You have to know that the doubt and pessimism is going to come. But if you keep taking action, and I'm serious about taking the barest of minimums of action, some days will just be like that. And I'm not saying, hey, if you only do the minimum, then that's the secret to success, to reaching your goals, just the bare minimum. No. What I mean is, when you get in that valley and it's going to be hard to do anything because you're so full of pessimism, stay in the habit of taking action. Because if you do, eventually you will have better days, because some days will be better than others. And if you take action, and not just meaningless action, you'll still be getting closer to your goal. Even if the pace is slower, it's still taking you in the right direction. And at this point, down in the valley of despair, direction is more important than speed. Direction is more important than speed. I've said that before and I'll say it again. So keep going. Small action is better than no action. Don't focus on being motivated. Focus on being consistent. Focus on waking up, doing what needs to be done, regardless of how you feel. And that's the blueprint. And as you start to see progress, you start to feel better about yourself. And because you built up this habit of consistency, on the days you do feel good, you go past and beyond the bare minimum you've been doing and do way more. And this is going to help you get to that next stage and eventually to the top. So those are the steps: uninformed optimism, informed pessimism, the valley of despair, informed optimism, and success and fulfillment. Yes, change is hard, but now that you have an understanding of these stages that you're going to go through, you'll be able to recognize where you are and know how to push through. Don't let change win. So that's what I got for you today. If you like this episode, please share it with somebody that can benefit from this, somebody who is a friend or a family member, somebody who has goals and is trying to improve their lives. So thank you again, and let's get it in.